Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. Krishnavatar, Rasa Krida or Rasa Leela. This is a very interesting phase in Balakrishna's childhood phase. Sri Krishna enthralled gopis with dance and merriment, thereby granting them a long-cherished desire to play with him. They were not conscious of their households as they rushed out on hearing the mesmerizing tunes from Sri Krishna's flute. Their dance along with Sri Krishna was their ever sought for merriment that made them pour out love through true bhakti. Sri Krishna was appearing in between two of them now and disappearing suddenly, and later through his Maya, as many as there were maidens, he was appearing as many. It was an outpouring of deep affection and love. Sriman Narayana had advised Brahma that gods and celestial maidens take birth as Vrishnis and Gopis in the land of Yadavas for his pleasure. Thus the celestial maidens were given the blessing to be close with the Almighty in Vraja, that they would otherwise not have been so blessed in the celestial realm. Sudarshana, Shankajoda, Arishta and Keshi. Sri Krishna, Balarama, Nanda and his brother Sunanda and the cowherds and women were worshipping Lord Shiva and Goddess Ambika in Ambikavana on the banks of the river Saraswati. They spent the night there in the forest itself. It was then that a snake caught in its wide mouth Nanda, who called out to Sri Krishna for help. Sri Krishna put an end to Sudarshana, who was a Vidyadhara and who had been cursed by sages to turn into a snake. Sri Krishna rushed and pushed the python, and with the touch of Sri Krishna's foot, it immediately got back its original form of the Vidyadhara. His name was Sudarshana, who now looked resplendent wearing a gold necklace. He explained that he was excessively obsessed with his splendor and beautiful appearance. So much so that while going about in an aerial car, he laughed at a sage who had a crooked body, Ashtavakra. The sage's curves resulted in his becoming a serpent that has multiple bends when it coils, and it crawls sideways left and right. And getting back the Vidyadhara form upon being touched by Sri Krishna's feet as blessed by the sage. Nanda was saved from his clutch. In another instance, in the same Ambikavana, an attendant of Kubera by name Shankachuda drove the young women of Vraja towards the north. Both Sri Krishna and Balarama soon went after him, and soon Sri Krishna caught up with him and severed the head of that evil-minded Guhyaka, Yaksha. The jewel on his crest was gifted to Balarama. Keshi, sent by Kamsa to kill Sri Krishna, came disguised as a horse of colossal size, causing a cloud of dust and turbulence in the firmament. Its wide open mouth was like a huge cave. Its neighs were terrifying. As it tried to kick Sri Krishna with its hind legs, Sri Krishna seized the legs and whirled it and flung it. The horse dared to attack him with its wide open mouth. Sri Krishna put his long arm into its mouth and shattered its teeth. His swelling arms choked it, and it fell down lifeless. Narada eulogized Bhagavan, who brought relief to the gods who were in fear of the demon Keshi. Bhagavan got the name Keshava for the killing of Keshi. Arishta was killed for his misdeeds disguised as a bull. The demon, on Kamsa's request, appeared as a colossal bull kicking up dust and causing consternation among the celestial beings. Initially, Sri Krishna dodged the charging bull, then holding its horns, pushed it 18 steps backwards. Undaunted, the bull again charged towards the Lord, who had no difficulty in pushing it down by tight grip of his horns and kicking it hard and then pulling out the horn, struck it hard with the horn, and it fell prostrate, vomiting blood and meeting its end at the hands of the Almighty. Kamsa's new plan to kill Sri Krishna. Kamsa wanted somehow to get Sri Krishna and Balarama to Mathura with a conceived plan to finish him off. Kamsa praised Akrura as the most dependable and confided his plans on killing both Balarama and Krishna, about whom Kamsa had heard from Narada and had therefore known that Krishna was the one to be his nemesis. Kamsa dispatched Akrura to fetch Sri Krishna along with Balarama with an invitation to them to witness the sacrifice to the divine bow presided over by Lord Shiva, Pashupatastra. On the way to Mathura, what Akrura saw was awe-inspiring. While taking a bath in the sacred pool of Kalindi, he witnessed Sri Krishna and Balarama under the water as Lord Vishnu and Adishesha Balarama. The Lord, clad in yellow silk, holding a discus, a conch, a mace, and a lotus in his forehand, and resting on the 1,000-hooded Adishesha. Akrura realized that Sri Krishna was none other than the Almighty himself, and was then free from anxiety over the safety of Sri Krishna and Balarama. Incidentally, when the Gopis came to know that Akrura had come to take Krishna and Balarama to Mathura, they all felt miserable at parting with Sri Krishna. And they said Akrura was really a Krura. And up to quite a distance, they followed the chariot that Akrura was escorting Krishna and Balarama in. Now, Krishna's entry into the city of Mathura. Having heard of the greatness of Krishna and having waited to be able to see him, the women of the city had all lined up the highway to the palace, and many were viewing from their mansions. In their hurry not to miss him, they were not even conscious of what they wore and how. Some with earring in one ear, some applying collyrium to only one eye. Even so were women with oil on their body and yet to take a bath. And lo, some mothers leaving the crying child back without feeding milk. Such was their eagerness for a glimpse of the adored Sri Krishna. The menfolk were there with water to wash their hands and feet, and with fragrant sandal paste and everything else to adorn Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna and Balarama soon came upon a washerman with a bundle of royal clothes. Sri Krishna made a most courteous request for appropriate clothes for them both, coupled with the promise of benediction to them if such a request was fulfilled. But the rude washerman tauntingly spoke harsh words and said that cowherd boys did not deserve royal clothes. Sri Krishna put an end to him by severing his neck with the tip of his fingers. At the same time, farther up, a weaver full of love adorned both with colorful and choice clothes. The good-natured weaver was blessed with all prosperity and strength of body and acuteness of mind. Next to be blessed was a florist by name Sudama. He was very devoted and knew the greatness of Sri Krishna, who was none other than God himself. Sudama received them both with due honors and offered garlands of choice and fragrant flowers. He was blessed by Sri Krishna not only to have unflinching devotion but good fortune for his progeny along with strength of body, longevity, and glory. Kubja, Sairandri, the hunchbacked Kubja, Trivakra, the one with 3 parts of bent on her body. She got back her former pristine form when Sri Krishna placed his feet on hers, gently lifted her sagging chin with 2 fingers that caused her body to straighten up and thereby restoring her pristine form. Sairandri was earning her livelihood by making scented special sandal paste for Kamsa that exuded fragrance all around. Comely in appearance, once she got her proper physical shape, she felt a longing for Sri Krishna and invited him over to her house. In appreciation of her gesture to have given the special sandal paste intended for Kamsa, the ruler, to him and Balarama, whom she met on the way to the palace, Sri Krishna later paid a visit to her house that was richly decorated and kept ready to receive him with due honors. Breaking the divine bow. Sri Krishna easily lifted and pulled the string with such a twang that resulted in the bow breaking into 2 and causing a deafening sound all over. With the 2 halves of the mighty bow, Sri Krishna and Balarama made short shift of those who came to attack them, as it was a protected place and they had entered without permission, and they feared that the king Kamsa would punish them. Kamsa had intended to do a bow sacrifice and had kept the divine bow in a strong room. Kamsa lost his sleep after hearing about the powerful mighty bow being broken by Sri Krishna. He had weird dreams and when awake could not see his head while looking at mirror. Objects appeared duplicated. He closed ears, could not hear the usual whizzing sound, all indicating his consternation and fear of impending death. We will go more into Sri Krishna's actions in Mathura in another chapter. Sri Krishna Krishna, Sri Krishna Krishna, Sri Krishna Narayana Agila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. Sachidananda Rupaya Vishwalpatyadi Hedave Tabatre Vinashaya Sri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha. Oka Jana Sudhino Bhavantu.